Hey guys, so today we made a track using Serum only and 0 other plugins, no effects or anything else. It's all literally just Serum. Even the drums, literally nothing else. So I'm just going to take you through quick making of each one of these, and if you want to watch the full thing you can. It'll be up on my channel. It's about 4 hours long, and it'll be up on my channel probably later on this evening or tomorrow. And yeah, so let's get started. So first up, we started with a drone, which is just one single note. Then we've used Serum here with 2 oscillators, one pitched up, an octave, both with unison. And then we have a filter, and we have a bunch of effects here. We've got some delay, reverb. We kind of like band passing it and then filtering it even more, using this filter to kind of open it up and close it throughout the track. Okay, and then that sounds like this. And then next up is the pad. The pad is, I literally just took 2 saw waves, again, pitched it up, pitched one of them up an octave, and then added unison to both of them, a low pass filter, and then this kind of long envelope shape, like your typical pad shape. And then if we go into the effects, I pretty much, if you watch the video, just enabled a bunch of effects, didn't really tweak them at all. I just kind of turned everything up. The reverb, I think I just made quite a lot longer and kind of added a low cut to it. And then, oh yeah, that's one thing I need to talk about, is the compression. The sidechain compression was kind of hard to figure out because I couldn't just use a filter or modulate the level of each oscillator, because if it goes through a reverb, then the reverb will be happening after the sidechain, which kind of defeats the point of it. So I put this compressor on pretty much every single one of my instruments at the end of the chain, and then I made this kind of like sidechain shape with an LFO on quarter notes, and then assigned it to a multiband compressor with all the bands turned down to 0. So when it plays, kind of pumps it open and closed. So if I turn this all the way off, you still get a tiny bit of sound through, but for the most part it takes it out. And that was just my solution for sidechain. So yeah, it's basically just saw waves and then a bunch of effects, delay, reverb, and flanges and phases. And then next up is the main melody. And this is pretty simple patch too. It's basic Moog, almost like a saw wave, sounds like a saw wave. And then we're going into a filter. That's like kind of making this plucky shape. And then we've got a bit of downsampling over here to like give it a bit of distortion and high end. And then going into delay, reverb, compressor for the side chain, and then this filter is kind of just to let it open and close throughout, because for some reason this patch just sounded bad if I changed the position of the cutoff or open and modulated the cutoff amount. So yeah, do it like that. Okay, and then there's this little ARP that you don't really notice in the track. It's just kind of in the background. And this has got something kind of cool happening here. You can see all the velocities are different. I just randomized them, and then I just emphasized a few of them to kind of give this groove to it. And then the velocity is just mapped to a few parameters like the decay and the release. And I think also the cutoff, yeah, the cutoff too. So certain notes are like brighter and longer to kind of give it a bit of bounce and groove. But otherwise it's pretty much a similar patch to the main sound. It's also got that downsampling which I turned off, delay, reverb, and then the sidechain. Next up is this like trill thingy, which I resampled and just kind of pitched it up and down and reversed it and stuff. But it sounds like slightly different each time. And then we have the bass, which is a very simple like saw wave perfect fifth bass. You can see it's literally just 2 saw waves and a filter. And then I'm using this EQ to just take out the low end and make some space for a sub. And then we've got the sidechain on. The sub is exactly the same thing. It's just got a cutoff. Wait, my bad. Yeah, the cutoff here on this filter in the effects is just brought down to like 140 hertz to make it subby, and I just wanted to do that so I can sidechain this differently to the mid bass. Then probably the more interesting part of this is the drums and how they were made. The kick drum is a sine wave with some noise for the attack, but like very quiet. You don't hear it. Yeah, barely hear it. And then this LFO is shaping the amp of the kick, so basically how long it is and how loud it is. And then this LFO is assigned to the coarse pitch, and that's controlling the pitch over time. And then the compressor. So this does quite a lot actually. It's kind of just boosting and kind of balancing it out and tightening it up. Compare that to that, pretty much doesn't sound like a nice kick, and that's a usable kick. And then we got this EQ that's cutting out a little bit of 150 hertz. I probably could have taken out a little bit more, but that just kind of takes away the boxiness. And then I got this filter on because I thought the high end was a bit too bright. So it just takes out some of the click. And then we've got the closed hi-hat. And this just is the shape of it. So I use the LFO to control the level of the white noise. And then just an EQ to kind of take out all the mid-range and boost a little bit around like 10K or whatever, 7K or something. And then this low pass filter, I think it's set to 10 kilohertz, and that's we still got audio. Yeah, so that's just down to 10 kilohertz. That's because I don't like my hi-hats to have too much information above 10 kilohertz. It usually just sounds all hissy and not nice. And then this actually has like a couple layers. So there's one hat, another one, and this is like a 16th hi-hat. So it's basically the same patch, but the shape is slightly different. And then we've got the next one, which is like an open hi-hat, which is just a bit longer, and then has some reverb to make it a bit splashy. Next one is like a wide, basically I try to make a wide hat by taking two more open hi-hats, making them a bit longer, and just panning one left and one right. And again, that's just noise and some EQ, some reverb. And then we've got closed hi-hat over here again. This is just W means wide, so it's basically the same hat as this, but just wider. 1 pound left, 1 pound right. And how you make them wide is just by making small differences like changing the pitch or using two different types of noise. Okay, and then the shaker. That's literally just noise with a bit of panning on it, and then this kind of shapes the shaker. So each one of these peaks is like, this LFO is controlling the level basically. And that makes it like get the groove that you want. And then we've got the frequency, we've got the EQ over here, which is just taking out the low end again and something, you know, similar to the other hats. Then the clap. So this is one layer. The LFO is controlling some white noise over here. Then we've got the filter, which is kind of boosting around 2K to give it that clap character. And then again, boosting some mid-range, taking out the low end, and then adding a tiny bit of reverb, quite a small reverb. Then we've got another two layers for the clap, this one and this one. So this is basically the same thing with just a bit more of a resonance on it. And I filtered it down to like, yeah, so most of the information is probably around 600 to 1000 kilohertz. And then I've got a reverb on there, which is taking out quite a lot of the high end. So you can see I've filtered out a ton of the high end, the reverb. And then this multiband is just kind of shaping it even more. And bringing out some frequencies like the high end. And then I've got this very fast delay, which kind of gives it that slapback feel. And then this is just the same thing. Pan left, and I think I just changed. Not sure what I changed. Oh, so one of them is pitched up and one is not, and that's what creates the difference and makes them sound wide. 1 pound left, 1 pound right. Okay, then I just got this percussive sound, which is still tiny. Make that bigger. And that sounds like this, which is just white noise and a really, really short sine wave. Like it's barely even audible. I think I've turned it off. Yeah, it kind of just gives it that little bit of body. And then I've got some dimension expander to make it wider. Delay, reverb, some EQ, and compression, multiband compression. And then a bit of a low pass filter to take out some of the high end. Then this tom. It sounds like that. And that's pretty much like the kick. That's controlling the shape, and this is controlling the pitch. Really, really quick pitch decay, so it's quite tonal. And that's the tom, really simple sound. There's this vocal thing, which is just a sine wave, white noise, and then it goes into like a formant filter to try and make it sound almost like a human kind of voice. And then I've got like flanger, which is actually off, and then the phaser, that is what gives it most of its character. So I just played with the phase until I got the kind of sound I was looking for. And then some EQ to roll off the high end, some more formant filtering, bit of compression. I think I just kind of use this to boost the volume. And then, yeah, a reverb tail over there. Okay, then I've got some effects here. The sweep. And if I just make this bigger. Yeah, so this LFO is just controlling the level of the noise and giving it that like stutter feeling. That's the sidechain compression, which I've talked about before. And then I've just got a flanger with like quite a slow rate on it. And this reverb gets mixed in over time. And then, yeah, it gets sidechained by that multiband compressor. And that's pretty much just noise. So, yeah, pretty simple. And then I just copied the clap and made an impact out of it just by putting a ton of plate reverb on it. And there we have it. That's pretty much everything. If you want to see more in detail how everything was made, then you can watch the live stream, which will be up on my channel later this evening or tomorrow. So the project file for this will be going up on my Patreon for all tier 2 subscribers and up. So if you want to download the project file, please make sure to join the Patreon. And yeah, I will catch you at the next one.